Today is hump day, so we are going to be talking about pelvic tilt. And pelvic tilt is a really important component of your golf swing. It's one thing to be able to stand up nice and tall. It's another thing to be able to maintain a neutral spine while bending over. And for so many of us, our backs are forced into this hyperextension, and then we stick our butt out like we're about to get into our golf swing because our coach tells us, hey, stick your butt out, not telling us that yes, your butt needs to go backwards, but you also need to be able to tilt it posteriorly a little bit just so that it stays neutral while you're bending over. Now, because Thanksgiving is over, we get to talk a little bit about Christmas. If you don't celebrate Christmas, I apologize. You're going to have to deal with all the marketers shoving Christmas stuff down your throat anyway. So we're going to use the concept of the Christmas tree. And for many of you, this is going to strike a chord. All right, so first off, what is pelvic tilt? Well, there's a way that you can check it easily at home, and that's to get into golf posture with your arms across your chest, hands on your shoulders, and then trying to keep your head and your knees still. We want to see if you can arch and round your lower back by tilting your pelvis. Notice my back arches, and then it rounds, and then it arches, and then it rounds. All right, so the goal is to be able to get your spine into a nice neutral position. And neutral doesn't mean straight, but we'll use a straight line as an example. Now, I want you to think of this spine as the trunk of this Christmas tree. And any of you that have set up a Christmas tree and you've put it into one of these stands where you have to screw in all the screws, the idea is you want an equal balance between all these screws. You don't want one more tight than the other because that'd cause the tree to go crooked. So we need to find a balance so the tree will stand upright, or in this case, that your spine will remain upright. All right, so we've gotten our spine into a nice neutral position like the trunk of this Christmas tree. We've gotten all of our bolts screwed in appropriately. The next thing is to be able to reinforce that pattern. So it's one thing to think about your spine and your golf swing as a Christmas tree and draw it on the whiteboard, but what does this mean for exercises that you can do to help get you into this position and reinforce it so you can play some great golf? So the goal is to be able to get the spine into a neutral position, especially when we bend over into golf posture, and this is where our Christmas tree analogy comes in. So any of you that have set up a Christmas tree before, we put them into this little stand, and then you have to get how you screw it in just right. So it's a combination of making the loose ones tighter and the tighter ones looser so that we can find a balance. Otherwise, it's like it's getting pulled on unevenly, and this is going to start to bend or warp. All right, so our solution for getting pelvic tilt back is actually a really basic exercise that you might think, oh, well, this is super easy, but the easier an exercise is, the higher my expectations are for performing it perfectly. We're going to do two exercises here. One of them is called cat-cow, one of them is called bird-dog. You're probably familiar with them, but doing them together, cat-cow first, followed by bird-dog, is like our analogy of let's loosen those tight screws, let's tighten the loose screws, let's find balance, and then let's reinforce. All right, so let's start with cat-cow. I'm going to have you get onto your hands and knees with your hands right underneath your shoulders and your knees right underneath your hips. What's going to happen is I'm going to have you arch your back and look up while inhaling. And then I'm going to have you round and look down while exhaling. And we're going to move back and forth between these positions, maybe do a little downward dog action here with Ruby and Rory helping out. Going from the cat, which is the arch, round, and look up, to the cow, which is the round and look down. And after we've done our cat-cows, it's time to reinforce that core. We're going to start off in that same hands and knees position, but what's going to happen now is I'm going to try to keep my back and my core absolutely still with minimal movement as I lift my right arm and my left leg straight out in front of me, bring it back under control, and then I repeat the same motion on the other side. Again, I don't want excessive movement all around. I want to demonstrate control the entire time. Tune in tomorrow as we continue to talk all things golf mobility. Move better, play better.